Hello YouTube, this is Santos representing Neo Overlay Network, and I'm here to show you my Synchron deck profile. I really like this deck. It's one of my favorite decks of all time. I always liked Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds when I was going in high school, even though it wasn't cool at that time. I still really liked it, and I like the whole series and archetype, so I decided to make a deck, and I'm here to show it to you guys. So let's get this started. For the beginning, I run, obviously, Yusei's favorite homeboy, 3 junk, Synchron. Obviously, when he's normal summon, he could target a level 2 or lower monster from the graveyard and negate his effects. And yeah, he's a hard normal summon in this deck, which this deck has a lot of hard normal summons. And it sucks when you get, a fake Veiler or something. Ash or wherever, but he's really the ace, or not the ace, but the starter of the deck, which you really try to bring out or use his effect. So yeah, I run 3 junk Synchron. I run 2 quick draw Synchron. I was running 3, but because he's a level 5 and you can only use him for a Synchron monster, or like a warrior monster, or it specifically says it needs like a road Synchron or a junk Synchron. You could substitute him, and he has this effect that you can send, by sending one monster from your hand to the graveyard, you could special summon him, and you will use that effect quite often because you will see why. I run 2 of him. I run 2 jet Synchrons. The funny part is that I use his first effect, and which people don't really use nowadays because they use his second effect. His first effect is that if this card is sent to the graveyard as a synchro material, you could add 1 junk monster from your deck to your hand. So once he uses as is he used for a synchro material, his second effect is that you could special summon him by sending a monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then he could be special summoned, and when he leaves the field, you gotta banish him. And you could only use each effect once per turn. So I'll always usually use the first effect because I'll show you why. 2 of him. You don't need 3. You don't want to have too much tuners, but you want a good amount. So I run 2 satellite Synchron. The reason I run him is because if you have a warrior on the field, he could change his level to 4. And if something is special summoned from the graveyard, you could special summon from your hand, similar to Doppel Warriors. So I use his effect after the time because I will have a warrior and I would like to make him to a level 4. So that's why he's somewhat good, and run 2. I run 1 Flourish Synchron just for the name, and he's a level 2. I was running Road Synchron, but the thing with Road Synchron, he's a level 4, but only when you use a Road to bring out Road Warrior, and oftentimes you don't really bring out Road Warrior because he's pretty hard to bring out for this deck. And First Synchron is just a level 2, and he gets his other effect is that when he sent Synchro Summon, you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower monster from your hand. So he has that little effect, and just run 1 of him just for name. Now for the monsters, I run 3 junk converters because you could discard him and another tuner to add another tuner in your hand. And if you use him for synchro material, you could special summon 1 tuner in your graveyard and defense positions. So it still gives you play and more Synchron or tuner fodder. So you could just keep on synchro climbing. So I run 3 because he does. I was running 2, but you would like to see 3 because I don't know. At 2, I never really see him as much as I want him, and at 3, I see him all the time now. So that's why 3. And the other monsters, I run 3 Doppel Warrior because I'm trying to make it as much as a Weeb deck, and he's really good obviously because he's not hard once per turn when he's used as synchro material. Well, he has 2 effects. The first effect is that if you use him for synchro material, you can special summon up to 2 Doppel token, and they're level 1. And the other effect is that when monster is special summon from the graveyard, you could special summon him from your hand. So he has those two effects, and he's not on hard once per turn. So you keep on using him to bring out those 2 tokens. And yeah, 3 of him. He's really important in this deck. And when I use Jet Synchron's effect to search a junk monster, I always usually bring out Junk Servant, because he's not once per turn, and you could special summon him if you have a junk monster face up on the field. So he's you will try to use his effect, and he's a level 4, and he's just easily to take out if you have a junk monster on the field. So yeah, he's pretty good in that sense. I run 2 Boost Warrior, because sometimes he's really easy to summon. He's just like, when you have a face up tuner, you could just special summon him on the field. So he's not once per turn too. I run 2 because 3, obviously you don't want to open up with too many in your hand, and you would like to see him if they negate or like effect Veiler your junk Synchron, and you could just special summon him and still go with your synchro plays, or whenever you have any other tuner. So yeah, that's why I use him. I run 2 Quick Ball Hedgehogs because oftentimes I'll use Quick Draw Synchron's effect to discard a card, and I will usually discard him. And his effect, you could, if he's in the graveyard, you could special summon him, but banish him when he leaves the field. So he does come up here and there. He's a level 2 to make certain level 5 synchros, what I'll get to later. And he's just good, just that 2. I run 2 Jump Forward for the same reason, not 3, because sometimes you don't want to open up too many in your hand. I say 2 is fine because I do see him when I have him, and yeah, he comes in clutch when you do. And then when you're running 3, you just have 2 and then no synchros, and it just sucks when you just see multiple of them. And he's just easy summoning. If you control no monster, you can special summon him from your hand. So he's not hard once per turn too. So that's pretty much for all the monsters. Now for the spells, I run 1 Rhoda. I run 1 Monster Reborn. I run 3 Call by the Graves, because obviously there's a lot of hard normal summons, and you kind of don't want to die if they affect Veiler or Imperm. Well, I'm Imperm not, but just any hand traps, you just try to stop that. So 3 of that, and then I run 3 Tuning, because it lets you search for the synchros, any Synchron monster that you're trying to find, but you gotta discard 1 card from your deck. That's what it does. So there's that. 3 Tuning. I run 2 Part of Avarice. 3 is optional. 2 to 3. Just depends. I mean, I don't hate open up multiples, and sometimes you do when you run 3, and 2 feels just fine because I run TC Hyper Librarian and other cards that let you draw, so like you could just draw into these, and yeah, just 2. I run 2 Synchro Chase because I do try to have pure Warrior Stardust Dragons, and this card is okay for that sense. I run 2 because you do want to see it. It says your opponent cannot activate cards or effect in response to the effect activation of your Synchro monsters with Warrior, Synchron, or Stardust in their original name. If you Synchro summon a Warrior, Synchron, or Stardust Synchro monster, you can target 1 monster in your graveyard, use its material, special summon, and defense position. You can only use this effect once per turn. So yeah, often I would like to see it in my hand. And 2, just so I won't see multiple. Pretty good card. And for the hand traps, I run 3 Effect Veiler, because it can't be a synchro deck without Effect Veiler. You say we used it, so I run 3 of that, and then I run 3 Imperms. Obviously, just another hand trap, so I could just get it somewhat compatible, but it's not too competitive, but just a fun deck. I mean, I don't think you're gonna make too much on a local, but I mean, like, it's just fun. I like it. So that's pretty much for the main deck. It's 42. So let's see. And for the extra deck now, pure synchros. So I run 1 Formula Synchron. When you synchro summon, you could draw a card, and by the standby phase or your opponent's main phase, you could synchro summon. He's just there for level 2, easy level 2. I run 1 Celestial Double Star Shaman. He's good too when you're going your synchro plays. When this card is synchro summon, you can special summon up to 4 level 2 non-tuner monsters from your hand and or graveyard in defense position by this effect, and their effects are negated, and you're strictly limited to synchro monsters, which is okay because this is what this deck tries to do, pure synchros. So I just run one of him. I run 1 Metal Marsher. When he's synchro summoned, you could bring out 1 tuner from your graveyard, special summon it, and they become this. When you synchro summon, it becomes a tuner. So he's just there for level 3. I would try to bring as much different levels. Like I bring 1 Hero Light because sometimes you have a level 4 and you want to just keep on synchro summoning. And yeah, just for the level. And he negates, it's a monster negate, and you could just tribute him to negate it. But I just use it because he's a level 4. I run 1 TG Hyper Librarian. Every time you synchro summon, you draw a card. And this deck is really easy to do. I run 1 Acel Synchron. His effect is that you could increase, or when you synchro summon, you could send a Synchron tuner to the graveyard and either increase his level or decrease his level. So depending what you need, you could increase or decrease his level. So, and he's a Synchron tuner. So that's important too, because I'll show you why. I run 2 Junk Speeders because people will often negate 1 when you play online. And yeah, 1 doesn't seem optimal. I feel 2 is okay because you want later in games, like if you really used 1, you wish you had another one. That's why I run 2. And when he synchro summon, his attack could be doubled, and you could special summon as many Synchron tuners from your deck. So that's why he's pretty good. And just 2. And now I run 1 Stardust Charge Warrior because he's level 6 and he lets you draw, and you could attack special summon monsters once time. So I mean, he's not that big, but I just really bring him because he's a level 6 and lets you draw. I run 1 Nitro Warrior because I run the 2 quick draw Synchrons, and I always have a level 2 on board, and he's easy level 7 with that. Because other than that, quick draw and Synchron is not really good, but just for this deck, I just decided to run him. Because I'll bring Nitro Warrior all the time because it's just easy to bring him out. And I run 1 Stardust Dragon because it ain't a Synchron deck without Stardust Dragon, the main ace monster. And the reason I bring him out is because I will try to bring out Shooting Star Dragon using Acel Synchron. I'll reduce his level to 2, and I'll have Stardust Dragon. I will just make Shooting Star Dragon. Shooting Star Dragon has multiple effects. His first effect is that each time, or they could activate these effects once per turn. You could reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, and it as many Synchron or tuner monsters that you show to reveal, you could get to attack that many times. So if you reveal 5 and you have 3 Synchron tuners, he could get to attack 3 times and so on. And his other effect, he's a negate. It says negate the activation of effects that would destroy a card or cards on the field. And when your opponent monster declares an attack, you can select it, then remove it from play, and then negate the attack. And if he's destroyed, you could special summon a warrior. You could phase special summon this card. Hold up. It says you're putting this card during the phase. During the end of phase, for some of this card. Oh wait, wrong one. It's not this guy. He just negates. And Shooting Quasar Dragon. He's the boss monster of the deck. He's also a negate. It says that once per turn, must be synchro summon, cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card maximum number of attacks per battle phase equal to the number of non-tuner monsters. Use its synchro material once per turn during either player's turn. When a card or effect is activated, you can negate the activation, and if you do destroy it. When this card leaves the field, you could special summon Shooting Star Dragon. So that's why I run him, because if he's destroyed, you could bring out this guy, and yeah. So you can still have him. Now I run for the Warriors. I run Stardust Warrior because he needs a synchro tuner and a non-tuner, and he pretty much negates special summons. And when he's destroyed, you can special summon one level 8 or lower Warrior synchro monster from your extra deck. So he has that when he's destroyed. And I run one Satellite Warrior. He's from the new. He's really good too. If this card is synchro summon, you could target cards your opponent controls up to the number of synchro monsters in your graveyard, destroy them, and if you do, this card gains 1,000 for each card destroyed. If this synchro summon card is destroyed, you can special summon up to 3 level 8 lower Warrior Synchron or Starter Synchro monsters with different names in your graveyard. So as you can see, I have a lot of, and he's really good later in game. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the 15 monsters. And that's it, you guys. It's a really fun deck. I really like it because it reminds me of my childhood and everything. And I always like 5Ds. So yeah, you guys. This is Santos representing Neo Overlay Network. Please like and subscribe, you guys. And thank you.